WBO
Wright's
champion.
got it. Justice has prevailed. And Bingham knows he's got him going here. Ensley Bingham with a terrific left hook.
We got there to win the fight. Now, if the knockout comes, that's a bonus.
And Bingham's in the ring tonight because his great mate Steve Foster can't make it. He's got an elbow injury, but he comes out of the same camp. As I said, terrific friends, the two of them. He'll be right behind Bingham tonight. Foster, at the moment, is with Ian Darke.
Well, with me is the man who should have been challenging for the World Light Middleweight title tonight, Steve Foster, but he's injured. His mate, Ensley Bingham, goes in as well. Now, Steve, you're going to be in Ensley's corner tonight. First of all, how disappointed are you that it's not you in there?
Obviously, I'm devastated, but with Ensley getting the shot, it's cushioned the blow for me a little bit. Obviously, like I said, I'm gutted, and I'm going to give everything to Ensley tonight. I'm sure he'll win. All the camp's behind him. Got a fabulous atmosphere this evening, and I'm sure everyone will be behind him tonight.
You're very close to him, of course. What's his mood? Is he a bit nervous this close?
No, not really. He's just like he's always in his fight. He's just sat there now listening to some tapes in his dressing room, relaxing. Doing a bit of shadow boxing and stuff. Yeah, he can't wait to get in here this evening.
You know how to enjoy yourself up in Manchester. What a knees up it would be if Ensley Bingham was world champion by the end of this night.
Oh, it'd be a great old knees up. I'm telling you, yeah, it'd be if Ensley wins tonight, it'd be so emotional, it'd be untrue.
It'd be a very popular winner. Thanks a lot, Steve.
Can Bingham win this title, Barry?
Without a doubt, he's got the punching power to win a division in any weight up to light heavyweight. He punches so hard. Remarkable puncher. And at some stage during the fight against Wright, he's going to touch with him. He's going to connect on the chin. And I think that will be when the end of the fight happens. He is such a remarkable, chilling puncher. The first time he lands cleanly on Wright, the fight will be over.
I was going to say, let's make it more specific. Forget can he. Will he win this title?
He will win the fight. I feel sure that he'll hit him at some stage, and I feel sure that he'll win the title.
And the night in general. We've heard from the cast already around various parts of the world. How do you feel about Judgment Night?
I can't wait. I hope we can stay awake for it all, because it's going to be fascinating, and I can't wait for it to happen, and I can't wait for the first title fight to begin.
OK, we'll hear from Glenn McCrory and Ian Darke, who are ringside in Manchester tonight very shortly. Right now, let's join our MC for the evening, Mike Goodall.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for the action to begin. And ladies and gentlemen, would you please firstly welcome into the ring from Manchester, the challenger for our first world title, Ensley Bingham.
Well, what a night this is for Ensley Bingham. A night that he dared not dream about a few months ago. He's a thunderous puncher, but he seemed to be going nowhere. He was nothing really much more than a respected domestic operator. And he's getting a fabulous reception here in his home city. His trademark left hook has taken him to the British Championship, and then when his mate Steve Foster was injured, he was plunged into this world title fight at the age of 33 and after 10 years in the sport. Bidding tonight to become Manchester's first world champion since Jackie Brown 61 years ago. Ensley Bingham. Fabulous night for him, Glenn.
It's a wonderful night. He's wanted this for so long, and finally he's getting it in such a wonderful atmosphere in his hometown. Tremendous crowd, so he's getting it in style.
Bingham on a run of 7 stoppage victories in a row over the last 4 years. Hasn't been beaten since 1992 when Robert McCracken beat him. But the suspicion is that the champion Wright is a superior technician. He's slick, so you'd think that Bingham probably does at some point have to catch up with him with that big punch.
Yes, I think throughout the whole fight that's what Bingham's looking for. But I was talking to the camp earlier, and they said they're not going to go looking for the punch. They're not going to show it. They want to work. They want to get some points build up, and they don't want to show them it all the time. And then when the time comes, They just want to lull him into a false sense of security and then finally bring the big bombs out.
Look at that scene. Just look at that scene at the Nynex Arena. I don't know of any bigger indoor arena than that in the whole of Europe. And there is not a spare seat to be had. Cheapest seats £20 and the most expensive £200. And still, they've really gone like hotcakes. Now Ensley Bingham is being kept waiting. Is this a bit of tactical stuff, do you think, from the right camp, the champion keeping Bingham waiting?
Well, I think it often happens in fights where a champion will try and unsettle a challenger a little bit, hang him around, but I think Ensley will enjoy this. He's in front of his home crowd. I think he's just going to soak up the atmosphere.
Bingham from the tough side area of Manchester, which is where Manchester City's ground is as well. I think we're ready for the champion now.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the WBO light middleweight champion of the world, Ronald Wright.
And just listen to that reception. Ronald Wright, beaten only once in 36 fights, making his first defence of the WBO light middleweight championship. But the defeat was against another big puncher, Julio Cesar Vasquez, who had him on the floor 5 times.
That's right, he was down several times in that fight, so he can be tagged, he can go down. He did get up and he lost that one on point, so he does have a fairly good chin. But I don't think Vasquez hits as hard as Ensley Bingham. He's certainly one of the most ferocious punchers in the business. And I think he's going to have to box a very, very smart fight, Ronald Wright, if he's going to get through this.
Well, I tell you something, this may not be the highest profile fight of the night, but it has the potential of maybe being right up there with the best of them. It could be a cracking start to the night, this.
It's a wonderful matchup. It's the old matchup. You've got the puncher and the boxer, and I think that's a brilliant match.
Here's our MC, Mike Goodall. As we look first at the tail of the tape, Bingham, the older man, by, well, what is it, 9 years here. Wright taller, Bingham right on the 11-stone limit, Wright nicely inside, reach advantage for Wright. He's a slick, fast southpaw, Ronald Wright. ...36 fights, and Bingham only 22 so far in a 10-year career, so he's pretty fresh, even though he's 33. Wright has boxed more rounds, more often goes the distance. Bingham there, exactly the same average length per fight, but look at the knockout percentage there. 58 to Wright, 54 to Bingham. Doesn't really tell the story. Bingham's the big puncher here. And the WBO rules here, most of it fairly standard. The 3 knockdown rule there is in effect. The bell can only save the fighter in the last round of the 12-round contest.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the fabulous Nynex Arena in Manchester, we welcome viewers around the world to Judgment Night, which begins with the Eyes of the Tigers. 3 world title fights promoted by Frank Warren for Sports Network in association with our sponsors Adidas, The Sun and ART. Ladies and gentlemen, it's big fight time, and the first of tonight's main events is a contest of 12 3-minute rounds to decide the WBO Light Middleweight Championship of the world. Between and introducing in the red corner, wearing the white trunks and appearing tonight in his hometown of Manchester, England, he holds a professional record of 20 contests, 16 wins, 12 by way of KO with 6 losses. He weighed in at an even 11 stone. That's 154 pounds. He comes to the ring tonight to appear in his inaugural World Title Championship as the current light middleweight champion of Great Britain. Ladies and gentlemen, Ensley Bingham. And his opponent, ladies and gentlemen, across the ring in the blue corner, fights out of St. Petersburg in Florida. He's wearing the gay trunks and he's scaled in at 10 stone, 12 pounds, 12 ounces. That's 152 3/4 pounds. His professional record of 36 contests is 35 wins, 21 by way of KO, with 1 loss. And he appears tonight as the WBO light middleweight champion of the world, making his first defense of his title. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to Manchester, Ronald Winky Wright. The officials appointed for this contest by the WBO, the supervisor in charge, Mr. Dakini Cliff of the USA, the supervisor from the British Boxing Board of Control, Mr. John Morris, the steward in charge, Mr. Dennis Lockton, the judges at ringside, Mr. Norbert Krosch of Germany, Mr. Michael Pernick from the USA, and Jose Roberto Torres from the USA. The man in charge of the action for this contest, the referee from Chicago, Mr. Gino Rodriguez, and your timekeeper, Mr. Barry Pinder of Sheffield. The referee, Mr. Gino Rodriguez, will now give his instructions to both boxers.
For your fight. Okay, gentlemen, you got your instructions. I want you to obey my commands at all times, protect us at all times, and good luck.
Well, this extraordinary night of boxing starts right here. Is it going to begin with a thunderous hometown triumph for Ensley Bingham, the journeyman who's become a champion, fighting tonight with a blade of grass from his mother's graveside in his left glove. He does that for every fight. Bingham's big punch against the smooth technical skills of the champion from Florida, Ronald Winky Wright. Just be interesting to see what Bingham does early. I think the plan is, having spoken to the camp, to just disguise things a little with that left hook, not to let it go all the time, maybe lull Wright into a false sense of security.
Yes, I think they wanted Bingham to use the jab, to box his way in, not to look for the big punches early, just to get his rhythm going and get his punches off first.
Wright will not bother about boxing in the other fellow's backyard. He won the title in Monroe, Michigan, the hometown of Bronco McCart, the former champion. And he's fought a lot in Europe because he's got a promotional tie-up with the Akaris brothers in France. That fast, insistent jab will be a problem for Bingham. But make no mistake, Ensley has done his homework. He's watched countless videos and they've worked on the strategy time and time again, but can they make it pay in the ring? There's that jab, 1, 2, 3, into the face of Bingham, and he's got to try, if he can, hasn't he, to slip some of those.
He has. He's got to use a high guard and good head movement. Wright's going to be looking for that jab all he can. That's what Wright's got to do. He's got to try and keep Bingham off balance, so he's going to try and do that all night. Lots of movement, lots of southpaw jabs. And Bingham's got to start slipping them, and then he's got to start getting his own punches in.
Wright, in turn, knows all about Bingham's honey punch, the left hook. So there's plenty of cat and mouse involved in the strategy here. Again, that fast southpaw jab from Wright. He's 24 years of age. He's worked hard to get to become a champion and says he has no intention of slipping from the peak yet.
Yes, Wright really is a quality boxer. 35 wins of 36 fights shows he's certainly a good boxer.
Chance of Bingo rolling around the Nynex Arena in Manchester. They're trying to get behind him, but Wright's southpaw jab has dominated this opening round so far. Wright is a very good technician, but so far that key moment, what happens when Bingham lets go with the left hook and lands, has not arrived. And what makes this so fascinating is we could go 9 rounds before he does it.
Mike Tyson versus Evander Holyfield. Michael Moorer battles Francois Botha, and Henry Akinwande versus Alexander Zolkin. 3 heavyweight championships.
Judgment Night Part 2 tonight from midnight, exclusive to Sky. Sky subscribers can see Judgment Night Part 2 live from Las Vegas with a selection of repeat Sunday screenings by ordering now on 0990 800 800 for just $14.95. Cable viewers can order through your local operator.
Welcome back to Manchester. There's the Ensley Bingham corner. What will Billy Graham be saying to Ensley, do you think?
Well, I don't think he'd be too upset with the first round. I'm sure they know that Wright's going to do good boxing, and they'll want Ensley just to slip it more, be a little bit busy with the jab, I would feel. He just let Wright do too much with his own jab, so a little bit more work from Bingham, step it up in the second.
No doubt about it, Wright will have won the first round on the scorecards with that jab of his. Round 2, due to go 12, of course, for the WBO light middleweight championship of the world. Jackie Brown, back in 1935, was the last world champion from Manchester at flyweight. One thing that worries me about this insistent jab of Wright is the way Bingham sometimes in the past has marked up in his fights.
That's right. Also, it's a good ploy from Wright, because that's what you've got to do to keep a puncher off balance. You've got to keep feeding him a jab, and then he can't really get set because he's always got this jab coming at him. So that's the right thing that Wright's going to do.
Good right hand there from Ronald Wright as well. Prefers to be called by his nickname Winky. The apocryphal story is that he apparently winked at the nurses in his cot when he was just a baby, and he's been called that ever since. Likes the nickname too, says, "Don't call me Ronald."
He's known specifically as a boxer, but he's actually quite a good puncher as well. Certainly has a respectable punch, 21 KOs in his 36 fights. So he carries a little, quite a good dig himself, and he's getting off well there with the right and the left.
Early on, Bingham is being outboxed. But he does possess the equalizer, as we know well. Made to miss with his left hook there. Just a slightly troubled look on Bingham's face. Of course, he must have known it might be like this. I'm sure they did, and he mustn't become discouraged.
That's right. He can't allow himself to be frustrated too much. He's got to keep to his game plan, keep loose, keep throwing the jab, and just maybe lull right into a false sense of security before he starts picking up with a left hook in the right hand.
Lots of lateral movement from Wright. He's a pleasant, amiable man, trained by the Birmingham brothers, Dan and Mike, who are so close to him that one of them was at the birth of his baby boy last year. Very tight-knit camp. So far, their strategy is the one that's working, but it's early.
And Wright showing good skills here. He's landing on the attack, and he's getting away very quickly, and often he's really wrong-footing Bingham completely, and Bingham being off balance a couple of times, and that's even forced a smile from Wright. He's pleased with his work so far.
Loosening up Wright, growing in confidence. And Wright wins round 2 as well. Welcome back. There's the scene outside. The Prince is arriving for the second of our 6 world title fights tonight. 4th defense of the World Featherweight Championship against Argentinian Remigio Molina, and he's been oozing confidence, but nothing new there. Meanwhile, live back in the ring at the Nynex, a packed Nynex. Ronald Winky Wright, the champion from America, defending the WBO light middleweight crown against Manchester's Ensley Bingham, who's looking to just up the stakes a little bit here. He's come out faster and says, well, I've had enough of being on the end of that jab. Now I'm going to try and ask you some different questions. Let's see if he can.
Well, he has to do that. He's got to pick the pace up. He's got to throw more punches. He's got to try and rush Wright, put his punches together, and hopefully he can start landing with the heavier punches. But it's good boxing from Wright. He's just feeding that jab out nice and often. That's just keeping Bingham off balance. And also, it's such good lateral movement from Wright.
You can almost feel this crowd willing Bingham to win this. He would be a massively popular winner, not only in Manchester, but throughout British boxing. But it's a tall order, as we've seen already. All the time, it's pop, pop, pop with that right jab, isn't it? Right.
Yes, he's so very clever. He just keeps popping away with a jab, and then look at the good foot movement. Just keeps switching angles. Just never getting set. He can be a very frustrating person to box, can Ronald Wright.
156 out of 60 as an amateur, Wright, and an Olympic Festival gold medal in that, which is not the same as an Olympic gold medal, but I won't bore you with the details any further there. But he was good anyway. Bingham does get through with the left hand. Just got a little careless there and dropped the gloves, Wright. Oh, that's a smashing left hand from Wright as well. Bingham wasn't expecting that.
No, I think that was the best fight, the best punch that Wright's thrown so far. That really just stopped Ensley Bingham right in his tracks. A good, solid, short, straight left hand.
And again, as he tries to close the range, Bingham, he's picked off with a very, very solid right lead yet again. Bit of a masterclass so far from the American.
And you can just sense Wright gaining in confidence as he's going along, just getting that little swagger about his work.
No knockdown there. That was simply a question of Bingham losing his balance. But you wonder whether Wright is slowly but surely just breaking him down with this insistent attack.
Well, there's just too much of the stalking from Bingham. He's got to close the distance quicker. He's got to start to land with punches.
Bingham again trying to up the stakes, trying to fight at a different tempo, trying to draw Wright into more of a brawl, but he can't do it yet. Steve Collins arrives at the Nynex for his defence of the WBO super middleweight crown in the big rematch with Nigel Benn. Collins 7-2 on favourite to win, but Benn, I can tell you, is really steaming. Doesn't he look relaxed?
He looks very relaxed. I think his preparations have gone very well. He's very up for this fight. He's got a lot to prove.
That comes up later on, live. World title action as Ensley Bingham continues his bid to become WBO light middleweight champion. There's no doubt about it. He's lost all 3 rounds so far.
He has been a very good performance from Ronald Wright. I've been impressed with his work so far. He's just picking Bingham off at will and landing with some solid punches.
Bingham in the white trunks, fighting in his home city. We still haven't had that defining moment in the fight, though, yet, where Bingham does land with one of his sledgehammer shots. Just starting to land a little bit more in this round, got through with a couple to the body. Great footwork by Wright as well, and there are shouts from Bingham's corner of don't let him settle, don't let him settle.
Yes, he's just got to pick the work rate up a little more, Bingham. He's just standing in front of Wright a little too much and allowing Wright to tee off.
Well, the referee's not happy about something. Well, it's something from one of the cameraman's lenses, I think. The lens cover had come into the ring. Seen it all now.
Again, it's such good movement from Wright. He's not allowing Bingham to settle. He's picking him off with a jab, and then he's getting out of the way. Good boxing skills from Wright.
Well, the Bingham camp and Ensley himself was telling me on Thursday, look, I'll keep on with this. I'm ready for 12 rounds. And I'll hunt him for 12 rounds if I have to. He might have to.
Yes, I think the camp were ready for this sort of scenario. They said they trained for 12 rounds. They're going to keep coming after him. They feel their chance will come sometime in the 12 rounds that Ensley Bingham's going to get his big punches on. And they think when he does, that's going to be the end of the night for Ronald Wright.
Let's see. That is the equation that makes the mix here so fascinating. Bingham trying to let go with the left hooks that time. Smart countering punches from Wright. Isn't he a good technician? Clever, smart, thinking fighter. Look at his footwork too in reverse.
His reflexes are so good as well. He really makes Ensley Bingham pay if Ensley Bingham misses.
I know Wright wants to get into a really big money fight with Terry Norris, the dominant force in this division, and he's confident he'd beat him as well.
Well, certainly this is a very confident performance thus far from Wright.
Live at the Nynex Arena in Manchester. Let's admire some of the work of Ronald Winky Wright, because he's a boxer worth watching.
He really is a very good stylist. There's that good left hand. That just stopped Bingham in his tracks. But then, look, he's straight out of the way. Good foot movement. He just keeps Bingham busy. This is where Bingham just starts to pick it up a bit. He gets a bit closer, but look, the defenses are very good from Wright, and he just rolls away from that punch, just turns his shoulder on it.
The computer shows that Wright has landed nearly 3 times as many punches so far. The computer, I think, does not lie in this instance. Round 5, the solid white trunks of Manchester's Ensley Bingham, the grey of Ronald Winky Wright, the champion, who's winning everything so far. But the so far is in italics.
Yes, he boxes so good on the retreat, and he counters when Bingham misses. But Bingham's starting to get a little closer.
Good body punches. Just shook his head there, Wright, as if to say, well, I felt the weight of your punching there, and I'm not worried about it. But was he?
Well, I don't think anybody could be unworried about the punching power of Bingham. He really carries a good dig in either hand.
What Bingham really needs here is a left hook of the type which dispatched the normally durable Anthony Ivory and laid him out cold in Bingham's last fight. That was a truly awesome punch. Can he reproduce that here? These jabs from Wright are not pitter-patter affairs either, are they?
No, they're good solid jabs. He's a very good counter puncher. Every time Bingham comes in the distance, there's a good solid jab right there to meet him.
Yes, he's what's sometimes known in the trade as a bit of a cutie, isn't he?
Yes, this is where Ensley hasn't got to get frustrated. He's got to keep this game plan. He's got to try a few different things. He's doing the same thing. He's just following Wright too much. And Wright's just enjoying this. He's got to try and step off from the side, use a few different angles. He's got to start thinking on his feet a little bit more, Bingham.
You notice Wright all the time rotating, well, mostly anyway, away from the left hook. That is in a clockwise direction.
Yes, he does that for the most part, but he keeps mixing it up so Bingham never gets set, so Bingham never sure. Very good lateral move, and then that left hand, very straight and very sharp.
Bingham has to up the tempo. Has to start asking a few more questions. Unsettle Wright a little more. There's the body punch again. Just trying to step in a wee bit closer, but every time he does that, Wright picks him off with some very accurate punches. Good fighter, this fellow, isn't he?
Very good. He's really just letting these punches go so loosely. Very loose, just whips the jab out, puts his punches together. good rhythm, and he's always there to make Bingham pay if Bingham misses.
Oh, there's the left hook. It lands right at the end of the round, and Wright took it. Well, that was interesting. Almost on the bell there. I don't know if he quite landed flush with it, but Wright appeared to take the punch okay.
Yes, I think it was just a shorter punch. I don't think he really got his full rhythm into that punch, but there we see the punch is a big difference from Wright. And that's where we see he just doesn't quite roll with the punch and get full power on it, and Wright is just pulling away from it, so he didn't land with it full. And that's how I've got it. I've got Wright winning everything. A masterful display thus far.
Have a bet with you. That's how everybody's got it.
I would guess you're right.
Billy Graham there in the corner, the trainer who spearheads the Phoenix camp operation. There's Dan Birmingham working away with Ronald Winky Wright. His brother Mike there in the corner with Rodney Branson as well. Wright, who's getting the biggest purse of his career tonight. And this his 37th contest. He's beaten good fighters like Andrew Council in the past, Tony Marshall, Bronco McCart. Twice he's beaten Anthony Ivory, but he didn't knock Ivory out like Bingham did. He beat him twice on points. That kind of figures. The danger for Wright is that he's boxing so beautifully and he gets so confident that he just loses concentration and makes a mistake.
Also, Wright, he's having to work very hard for this. Lots and lots of movement, and he's going to have to keep this up solidly for 12 rounds. Keep changing things. That takes a great deal of fitness, because Bingham is trying to put pressure on him all the time. So he's going to have had to have done a good deal of work in the gym, Wright.
Really is a touch of the bull and the matador about this, isn't there? Wright building up a big points lead at the moment, but I remember seeing that light middleweight world title fight for the WBA version, Carl Daniels, Julio Cesar Vasquez. Daniels had won everything, then Vasquez put the lights out in round 11. That was an astonishing moment. I think it was on a Tyson bill last year.
Yes, I think that's the danger for Wright. He can't ever get complacent, he can't ever get too confident, because Bingham, for whatever he's got, does carry a very dangerous punching power. But defensively, Wright's very good as well. You saw there, Bingham closed the distance and he just shrugged his shoulders, just changed the angles and just slipped out of danger there. Very well, Wright.
Bingham's fought a few good fighters on the domestic scene, but I venture to suggest with respect to them that he's never fought anybody quite as smart with the boxing skills as this fellow. Well, he's trying to cut the corners off now, Bingham, and that's what he has to do.
But he's boxing so cool on the retreat, right? I'm very impressed with that. He's just moving well. He's not getting flustered by the pressure from Bingham. He's very cool, he's really confident in what he's doing.
The danger here is that Bingham begins to become frustrated.
Yes, I think if Bingham gets frustrated, he's going to start making mistakes, and an artist like Wright is going to make him pay for that.
It's another round for Ronald Winky Wright. He's won everything up to the halfway point. I wonder if Barry McGuigan can see any light at the end of the tunnel for Ensley Bingham. Barry.
Not at this stage, Ian. It was always going to be a frustrating night for Ensley Bingham. The problem with him is that whilst he's attacking, and that's what he's got to do, there's a risk attached to that. He's picking up punches as he goes along. Wright's very composed, and he's leaning back, and he's not allowing his back to touch the ropes, and Bingham doesn't get a chance to unload with that big left hook. Now he needs to work to his body more, he needs to bring his punches up, and he needs to punch every time Wright stops moving. Bingham's got to let his punches go. At the moment he's not doing that. He's picking up a lot of punishment. He's 6 rounds down on my card, and he really has got to do something drastic pretty soon.
Agreed. Thanks a lot, Barry. Barry McGuigan among our team in London tonight. We have a cast of thousands for you. Ian Darke and Glenn McCrory with you at ringside at the Nynex in Manchester, where Judgment Night Part 1 is coming from. Don't forget Las Vegas and all the thrills and spills from there later on. Ensley Bingham from Manchester in the white trunks, getting a bit of a boxing lesson at the moment, but we do have that rider all the time that I think the camp kind of knew that might happen. And I think the game plan might well have been to see if they could get to Wright in the second half of the fight. Let's see if it happens.
But I'm impressed with Wright. He's very good defensively as well. He's a real thinking fighter. He's working all the time. He's on the move with his feet, and yet he's always doing something with his hands as well.
It'd be something if Bingham could just slow him down a bit with some body punches, wouldn't it?
I'm sure that's what he wants to do, but Wright's just not giving him the opportunity. The foot movement's very good, and look at that. Just jolts out that straight left hand, really rocks the head back there.
Well, it's a bit like teams who are playing away. They have this tactic of trying to silence the crowd and kill the passion of the crowd, and that is what Wright has done here. The boxing fans know here, they know what they're watching, they know Wright's ahead, and they're beginning to fret for Bingham. You get the impression they're just longing to really give him real support, roar him on, and they wouldn't take a lot of encouragement.
No, it wouldn't, but really the crowd's pretty quiet because it's all Ronald Wright. He's really boxing at his own pace and mixing it well, and Bingham has to close the distance down quicker, and he's got to start putting his punches together.
There were two good body punches. Will these start to slow Wright down? I have seen fights in the past turn around dramatically in the second half of the contest. I remember Jeff Harding, Dennis Andrews being one of them. There's another one. Now, Bingham is having more success in this round than in any so far. And there's the left hook. This is better from Bingham.
It's just, I'm just noticing, it's pretty interesting now that Wright's just changing his tactics a bit. He's prepared to stand there with Bingham. Maybe he's got something on his mind that he's going to start opening up to Bingham, or maybe he's making a mistake.
Getting in some good heavy-looking punches himself there, Wright. The right to the body was a very good shot. And before that, a stiff left. Starting to just plant his feet a little more, Wright, for the punches.
Yes, he's just changing his tactics now. Very different. Now he's putting Bingham on the back foot, planting his feet, and looking to try and get some power into these shots.
I tell you what, this fellow has an ice box for a boxing brain. Just as Bingham was starting to get to him, he switched tactics. Nigel Benn, complete with limousine, arrives for action. Smile on his face, looks relaxed. And he said to me in Tenerife at his training camp, don't bother about what you hear, just watch me tonight, just watch what I do.
Yes, and then the crowd can see them pictures and listen the roar go up. He's very much a favourite here.
It's a great night of boxing, all right, but Ensley Bingham is finding it hard here against the WBO's light middleweight champion, Ronald Winky Wright, and he looks a good champion as well. Can Bingham slow him down and get to him late in this fight? There's what Glenn's scorecard is saying.
Yes, a complete shutout for Ronald Wright. He's winning everything. He looks very good in doing it.
Though I still say Bingham had more success in the last round than he'd had previously. This is better. There's another very, very good punch to the body from Bingham. And again, Wright just looking a little slower. I think he felt the weight of one of those all right.
I'm wondering about the change in tactics from Ronald Wright. He's neglecting the foot movement. He's standing, he's getting his hands up nice and tight, and he's prepared to stand in there with Ensley Bingham.
You think Bingham has slowed him a little with these body shots?
It could be that, or maybe he's now fancying his chances inside and a bit of a punch out with Bingham.
Is that a bit of macho from him, or is it justified?
Well, he's landed with all the best punches so far, so I think he's obviously building in confidence. And look, just picking Bingham up at long range, every shot landed there.
Can't mess with him, can he? Ensley's not slipping these jabs at all.
Well, he has such a rhythmic, nice, smooth jab. Very difficult for Bingham to get out of the way of them punches.
And these punches must, you feel, take a cumulative toll. It's a lovely right to the body too from Wright. And there's a bit of damage underneath the right eye now. Cut under the right eye of Bingham. The problems mount for him. Bingham is cut in the 8th round.
Yes, and I think the change of tactics is really, he's growing in confidence, Ronald Wright. I think he's feeling he's softening Bingham up, and now he's just moving in to start to land the heavier punches.
It really has been a clinical performance from him so far.
But remember, these tactics still suit Ensley Bingham more. He's now in distance, and this gives Bingham the chance to land that left hook.
Wright again took the left hook there. So far, Bingham hasn't been able to shake him up at all with that Sunday punch on the rare occasions when it has landed.
He's just unable to get set.
Well, it's a shutout so far for the champion, and Bingham has got problems. Cut underneath the right eye, he's looking a bit puffy around the face, and hope is beginning to ebb away.
Yes, I mean, there's a lot more punches thrown and landed from Ronald Wright, and you see the quality of them punches. He just can't miss. Look at that, right through the middle there. Really jolts the head back. They're hurtful punches. They're starting to mark the face up of Bingham, and they're obviously, Bingham's confidence will be pretty shattered by now.
Well, this is where he really has to show if he has what it takes to maybe dig something dramatic out when all seems lost. Bingham. It looks bad for him at the moment, being realistic with you. This is the 9th. Bingham in white on the right of your picture. The man from St. Petersburg in Florida, Ronald Winky Wright. He grew up in the tough inner city of Washington. Don't hold on, says referee Gino Rodriguez from Chicago. I think Bingham really has to go for broke here, doesn't he, now? It's got to be desperation stuff from him, really.
Yes, I think it's really down to that now. He's clinically getting outboxed, he's getting hurt. He can't carry on taking punches like this for the rest of the fight. He's waited for this fight so long, he's waited for his opportunity. Now he's really got to give it everything he can and really start to let the punches flow.
It's his misfortune that he's in with what looks a very accomplished champion here. Again, combination shots from Wright, and technically, has to be said, Bingham just looking a little out of his league in terms of boxing skills with this fellow, but a lot of people would be.
Yes, I think they would. This is a very good performance. It's always difficult fighting a southpaw, but he's a very, very neat southpaw, and his punches aren't just flowing out there. They're hard, hurtful punches. Still trying to stalk Wright, but he just can't get in distance. Can't get the momentum to land that big hook.
Fast flurry of punches again from this impressive champion. Well, we knew he was good, but I think he's even better than we thought. Well, there's the body shot from Bingham. There's a good left uppercut from him as well there. Just occasionally, there are little rays of hope for Bingham. But just when you feel he may be starting to get even the merest foothold in the fight, Wright suddenly switches on the dazzling skills again and shuts the door.
That's right, just as he starts to get set, just as he starts to load up for a big punch, you can guarantee there's a sharp jab or a thudding straight left hand going straight in the face of Bingham.
Bensley's face puffed up.
Bingham still trying to get a little bit of power in that left hook to the body.
Another right round for Ronald Wright. Meanwhile, backstage, Prince Nassim Hamed in his dressing room, and I wonder, as he gets prepared, what advice he may have tonight for his challenger, Remigio Molina from Argentina.
To hold his head up high and say basically that he got beat by a great world champion, and just full credit to the guy that beat him, and obviously you're looking at him, because I ain't getting beat, full stop.
Well, I think he feels he's got a statement to make tonight after two questionable performances in his last two fights. Brendan Ingle bandaging him and getting him ready. Back in the ring, Ensley Bingham, unless we're very much mistaken, hasn't won a round yet against Ronald Winky Wright, and it's come down to this. 9 minutes to go. Can he produce a knockout punch?
Well, he's really got to let the punches throw now. He's trying to pick it up, he's trying to chase him, but again, you see the quick skills of Wright just put Bingham off balance again. He really is a polished performer.
Wright will just not let Bingham into the fight at all. Looking puffed up, Ensley Bingham, around the face, and has done for a couple of rounds. Cut underneath the right eye.
Bingham really must be wondering what he's got to do to get close to Wright. What he's got to do to drop the guard, to get home with that big left hook.
Good right to the body. What a punch picker this Ronald Wright is. How many times has he missed tonight? You can count it on one hand.
He's so accurate, and he throws his punches so loose. You know, they're just nice and solid, just that nice little rhythm. He doesn't try and load up with them. He doesn't snatch them. A very good technician.
How much has all this weakened Bingham as well? He's taken a lot of punches and had to be quite brave. He's never ever been beyond 10 rounds in his whole career either, Bingham. Oh, again, classy combination punching.
And again, look at the way he gets out of the corner. He just slipped out, just dipped his shoulders, turned around, and then give Bingham a nice little counter, just for good measure.
Still magnificent boxing from Wright, and Bingham just hoping that he makes one mistake, leaves one opening, and suddenly he can explode the left hook into the gap. But time is running out, and fast.
Two good, nice right hands in there, close, from Ronald Wright. Well, he's right there in front of Wright, in front of Bingham, but Bingham just can't land the punches.
Well, what a hard night this is proving for Ensley Bingham. His hopes were so high, those eyes, well, underneath, look, there are swellings developing. There's a cut underneath the right eye. And he's had to eat that jab, to use the phrase they use around the gyms, all night long, hasn't he?
This has been a real hard night's work for Ensley Bingham. He just can't get anywhere near Ronald Wright. He's such a classy performer. Good jab. He's kept Bingham at bay with a jab all night, and then he keeps whipping in that solid straight left hand. Really good performance.
Over in the other corner, Wright looks confident, just about unmarked. His trainers say his only weaknesses are pizza and girls. Neither appear to be doing him too much harm. Round 11. You still need the identification. The champion is in the grey trunks. He's the one who's a mile in front. Well, Bingham here has raised the tempo. He's trying to take the initiative. I think Wright came out for this round with the idea maybe that he could just coast home, free wheel for a couple of rounds, but give credit to Ensley Bingham. For all the punches he's taken, he still wants to come forward. He's still living in hope.
Yes, he is trying. He tried to lift the tempo there, but you just saw how good Wright was. He just managed to lift the tempo a little bit high, and he come out of that exchange the better of the two.
Well, if Bingham is to lose this fight, there is no shame at all in losing to a champion as good as this. But he hasn't lost it yet. Oh, terrific left hand. That really sent the sweat spraying from the head of Bingham as it landed.
And Bingham just hasn't been able to slip any of those punches. He's took so many straight rights and powerful straight lefts. That was a nice little left uppercut. Just again rocked the head of Bingham. He's trying to pick it up a bit, Bingham.
The problem is, he just can't seem to sustain it for very long.
No, I'm so impressed with the defensive skills of Wright. He's got them gloves really tucked in. He's catching them punches on the gloves. He's prepared to stand there in Bingham's territory, and he's coming out the better.
I tell you what, he might give Terry Norris a fight as well.
I think he certainly will.
He's not a concussive puncher himself, Wright, but really that's just about the only weakness that's apparent. He punches hurtfully enough, stinging punches, and he's so accurate. Oh, again, class work. Blurring hand speed, it's all too much for Bingham at the moment. He's beginning to be picked apart. The jab at times almost like a surgeon's knife.
Yes, you just feel he's just starting to hurt Bingham a bit more. The fight's going out of Bingham. He's just picking up the pace, and confident display from Wright.
So what are they saying in that corner? Steve Foster, who was due to fought Wright tonight, is in that corner. Let's try to get a word with him.
Steve, it's desperation stakes now. What can he do?
Well, he's hurt his left hand early on from round 3, and we've sent him out 250 fight, all cylinders going. It's looking very difficult at this moment, but you know, we've got last round here. We're praying he can pull it out of the bag here. He's took a lot of stick tonight, Ensley, and full credit to him. The kid is good, this Winky Wright. You know, he's very slippery. Ensley's finding it hard for him to tag, but you know, let's hope he can do it this round now. Basically, you know, I've got to get in now and cheer him on now. So,
wishing the best of luck from us.
Yeah, okay. Cheers.
Steve Foster, who's we weren't really interrupting the work in the corner, incidentally. He's simply as a cheerleader in that corner. He isn't actually doing any work as such, but Ensley wants him there. Well, he's got 3 minutes to do the job, really. Bingham now, for the first time in his life, fighting a 12th round. And at the moment, I've got it as a complete shutout, and I think you have as well, Glenn. 11 rounds gone, 11 to the champion, Ronald Winky Wright.
Yes, he's been sent out in the last round, really to pull out something very, very special.
It was interesting to hear Steve Foster say that he's damaged his hand from the third round, the left hand, the one he favours. So that's doesn't help, does it?
It certainly doesn't, but in credit, it's been a really good performance from Wright. And he finished the 11th right on top, and Bingham trying to pick it up and getting a little bit of success with the left hook.
Well, can he suddenly produce some late drama here? Wright is covering up, the left hook hit the glove, to be fair, although the crowd at the back of the hall were on their feet.
Well, it's been such a good performance from Wright. I'm sure he's going to try and finish this last round off in style, and I would look to see him starting to put the pressure on Bingham from the halfway through this last round.
It's not really been a question of what Bingham hasn't done, it's been a question of what Wright has done.
Yes, and really, Wright has just not allowed Bingham to do anything. He's just boxed such a really good performance, good footwork, kept Bingham on the end of that jab all night, and he's been so accurate.
Just under 90 seconds remaining for Bingham to find the knockout punch that he needs now to wipe out a mountainous points deficit. I suppose the bookies would say it was 100 to 1 shot now, and the odds are getting longer with every passing second. Wright has really, to be honest with you, never looked in a moment's trouble.
He hasn't. He's been so confident with everything he's done. He's really had a good game plan. He's went through with all his work, so polished, and he's known what to do at every stage in the fight. You know, he's boxed for a good deal. He's mixed it up. He's been prepared to stand there with Bingham. Such is the confidence of this world champion.
Bingham just can't find a way in. Lovely footwork, lovely skills. He's trained to the minute right, and Bingham there, that rather sums it up. No, there's no count here. He threw a punch with such momentum that he ended up on the floor, Bingham, and that's how slippery this fellow is sometimes. You can't hit him with the proverbial bag of rice.
Yes, it's all well and good having the firepower, but if you can't hit your man, it doesn't do you any good.
We're going to hear the final bell any moment, and the results of formality. Ronald Winky Wright has retained the WBO light middleweight championship, and you don't need to look at the judges' scorecards to know that. It was a masterful display by him, and the American has deservedly and richly deserved to retain his title. Ensley Bingham knows it. There's no phony show of bravado from him. They all know the score, and the score on my scorecard is what, 120 to 108.
A complete shutout I had for Ronald Wright. He won, for me, every round. Credit to Bingham, he tried, but he was just in with a much superior fighter. And it was really, for me, it was a pleasure to watch the masterful skills of Wright. He was such a confident performance, good jabbing, good straight left hand. He was very, very accurate, and you never see fighters treat Ensley Bingham in that fashion. What a wonderful performance.
Well, we await the announcement of the decision. Well, they're friends now. There was no animosity at all in the build-up to this fight. They were two pros who respected each other all the way through the week. There was no phony ballyhoo. That was good to see. And both know exactly what has gone on in there. And what has gone on in there has been a magnificent display of boxing from this man, Ronald Winky Wright. Not a big name, not a household name like a Tyson or a Holyfield or a Lennox Lewis, but a real talent. I think we're ready with the decision now from Mike Goodall.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a unanimous decision. Judge Michael Pernick scores the contest 120 to 109. Judge Jose Roberto Torres scores the contest 119 to 109. And Judge Norbert Krosch scores the contest 119 to 110. All three in favour of the winner and still light middleweight champion of the world, Ronald Wright.
We're underway. Judgment Night Part 1 still to come this side of midnight. Of course, we've got Ben and Collins. We'll be getting some reaction from the Nynex to that fight that we've just seen in a moment or so. And coming up very shortly now, Prince Naseem Hamed. This is Judgment Night from Sky Sports. Coming up very shortly now, Prince Naseem Hamed. But we've just seen Ensley Bingham have a crack at Ronald Wright for the WBO Light Middleweight Championship of the World. He's failed, but failed bravely. And here is the champion with Ian Darke.
Thank you very much indeed, Richard. Yes, that was a masterful display from you, Ronald. What were your reflections on that fight? Was it a bit easier than you thought?
Nah, Ensley Bingham is a real tough fighter, and his coach prepared him well, and he came to fight. You know, I knew if I used my boxing skills and move around, use my quickness, that eventually I'll wear him down. The power he was throwing a way off, and that's why later in the rounds I was able to just stand and block, because most of his power was gone. He was getting tired.
He hit you with a few left hooks, his famous left hooks to the body. Were you hurt at all, be honest?
Oh, no, I wasn't hurt. None at all. He could punch, but I'm prepared for that. I spar with heavyweights and bigger people, you know, so I knew that his punch, he got a good punch, but, you know, I was used to being hit hard. I've been fighting world-class fighters, and a lot of people punch hard. People forget, I got 21 knockouts. A lot of times I hurt Ensley in that fight, but my corner just say, take it easy, just keep working. You can win by the distance. You ain't got to try to knock him out. That's why I just kept working. But he a real tough fight. I ain't taking nothing away from him.
And the fight you want now is against Terry Norris. Do you think that will happen, and would you win it?
Oh, I got to keep winning, you know, get more people behind me, and eventually, hopefully, I will get to fight Terry Norris. And, you know, if I do fight him, it's going to be a good fight. I'm going there to win, you know, but Terry Norris is a real good fighter. He got a lot of good skills, and it'll be a good fight for the people.
Thank you very much indeed. Well done tonight.
That's a good champion, Barry, isn't it? No question about that.
Very composed and showed the ideal way to handle a puncher. And let's be honest, he displayed the difference between world-class and domestic level. Ensley is a terrific puncher with guys that he can hit, but this guy showed the difference between a domestic champion and a champion of world-class.
Was that simply the difference?
I think it simply was, and it's maybe been a bit derogatory towards Wright. Wright was boxing beautifully there. His southpaw style was great. A really laid-back, laconic style, in and out, moving, boxing, never allowing Ensley to set his feet properly and deliver his power. Kept him off balance, never allowed his back to touch the ropes on one occasion, and kept that right jab in his face. Every time Ensley went to set himself, bop, he got a jab in the face. And Ensley knew it was going to be a very frustrating night. He was going to be running away from him, and he's going to have to jump on him. But it really started from the very beginning, and you know, we have a look at round 3 here, and just watch Wright's boxing ability here. Beautiful stuff, moving side to side, never takes a jab out of Ensley's face, pops the left hand straight down the pipe there, and right on the way out before the punch even lands. Great stuff. And you can see in round 4 again, more of that, just boxing beautifully, keeping Ensley off balance. You see, this never sits at any stage, never allows Ensley to get himself set. Left hand is coming over, but Wright's hand's tucked right back in, blocking himself very carefully. Centre of the ring all the time, not allowing Ensley to get set, keeping him off balance. Then in round 7 he decides to sit down on his punches and hit him with a little bit more power. And he did really hurt Ensley a few times here, and he said afterwards he praised his durability and strength, but real good right hooks to the body, and again pulling back evasively, making Ensley miss. And again, more of this, sitting down on his body shots again in this is round 8, where he again is back to his boxing, popping the straight. His accuracy was impeccable, you know.
He hurt him and tired him with that.
He just kept chipping away at him. He's not a concussive puncher, right, but you know, all of these punches count, and he keeps picking away at you and wearing you down and grinding down your resistance. And as he rightly said, he took Ensley's power away. And here's a look at the statistics. Just look at the amount of punches that have been landed by Bingham. It's quite remarkable. 230 head punches compared to Bingham's 78. and 45% of his punches land. Incredible stuff.
What becomes of Bingham then?
Well, I think Ensley's got to go back to the domestic level again, defend his title again, hope to win a Lonsdale belt, maybe have a shot at the European title, but he can forget about world class when he's got fighters like this to compete with.